Like I have female stalkers before, but it's usually after I fuck them. I never had a female stalker that I didn't fuck. And this is kind of new for me. So this is actually what happened. I did the face-off between Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. I'm reading the cue cards. We talked about this last week, but I'm going to fool my audience who don't know. I'm reading the cue cards. On the cue cards, it says, the most watched women's fight ever, Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano. I don't know what's the most watched female boxing match. Now, don't get me wrong. I love female boxing, but I never studied who was the most watched female boxing match. So I'm just reading what's on the card. After that, she goes on a...
Y'all, if you thought the internet reached its final meltdown back in 2023, think again. Today is the day your entire digital existence gets rebooted, factory reset, and thrown into a scandal you were absolutely not ready for. Because the second Camron opened his mouth live on camera, the whole timeline flatlined. I'm talking heart-stopping, finger-locking. Hold on. What did he just say? Levels of chaos out of nowhere. With the calm, cold confidence of a villain who already knows he won, Camron leans forward and says, "Y'all want to see something real?" And boom, from Hollywood to Detroit, every screen froze on one frame. An alleged S3X video of Claressa shields with her ex-fiancé, Tony Rich. Yes, that Claressa, the self-proclaimed GWOAT, the champion who hits harder than half your favorite rappers pretend to, now suddenly caught in a scandal so outrageous even Zeus Network would stand up and say, "Ho, even we wouldn't air this." The chat combusted. The studio gasped. Papooses' name trended before anybody even understood what was happening. And Claressa, allegedly backstage spiraling, dialing lawyers faster than you can say career crash in real time, because tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're not just spilling tea. We are detonating a scandal powerful enough to end careers, expose secrets, and burn an entire public persona to the ground in one single blow. The moment Camron's voice dropped and the screen glitched for half a second, everybody watching felt it in their bones. Something irreversible had just happened. Because, let's be honest, when Camron decides to expose somebody, he doesn't tiptoe, he doesn't warm up, he doesn't do soft launches. He goes nuclear from the first second. And tonight, it wasn't just nuclear, it was historical. You could literally feel the air shift the moment that blurred preview image flashed the shape, the shadows, the unmistakable outline that made the entire internet gasp in unison. And suddenly, every viewer, every blogger, every hater, every fan sat upright like they were at a funeral and a resurrection at the same time. And of course, the name on everybody's lips wasn't Tony, wasn't Camron. It was Claressa. Claressa Shields, the unstoppable, unshakable, untouchable GWOAT who swore she built her reputation with iron fists and an even stronger sense of discipline.
The next day after that, she does a 20-minute interview dissing me. Cam is trying to rewrite history. Cam don't, Cam don't know what he talking about. Cam is crazy. This means he don't like black women. Da 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 da. And I'm like, bro, all I did was read what was on the cue card. How I'm around to rewrite history. I didn't know who was the most watched, but I did know after the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, and they co-made an event, it was 50 million, 60 million, whatever it was watching them. All this turns into Cam don't like black women. Cam is hating on me. I'm trying to rewrite history. I didn't know the history.
Discipline. The same woman who lectured half the sports world about integrity. The same woman who dragged critics for suggesting she had even the tiniest crack in her image. Suddenly sitting at the center of a scandal so messy, so unfiltered, it made people question if they ever knew who she was at all. The timeline couldn't even process fast enough. People were arguing in comments while still screen recording. Fans were zooming into pixels like they were working forensic jobs they never applied for. Rappers were posting cryptic messages. Influencers were pretending they already knew. And through all of this chaos, Camron just sat there on live like a general watching the battlefield burn. letting people drown in confusion while he held every card in his hand. But to understand why this moment was so explosive, you gotta rewind a little. Because this wasn't just a random leak floating out of nowhere. This was the climax of a storm that started months ago. People forget that Camron and Claressa didn't just magically start beefing. This tension has been boiling behind the scenes like a pot left unattended. It started with subtle jabs, interviews, a few eyebrows raised, and some back and forth energy that fans brushed off as harmless competitive ego. But every rivalry has a backbone, and this one was stacked with receipts people never paid attention to. Remember when Camron hinted in that interview that certain athletes pretend to be polished, but live dirtier than street rappers? Remember how he didn't say names, but his smirk did all the talking? People laughed it off back then. Nobody connected the dots. Nobody realized he was warming up for this exact moment. Then came the tensions between Claressa and her ex-fiancé Tony Rich. Tony, the man she paraded as her forever. Tony, the man she introduced as her peace. Tony, the man she suddenly stopped posting like he fell off the...
This is stalking at this point. I don't want to give you the attention you don't want. You're going to get the attention that you don't want. I'm telling you. I said this in the DM. She said, let's go at it. And that's where it went. I'm just a funny nigga. So I just started clowning her. After I'm clowning her, she go back and forth, back and forth. Look, sir, I don't know you, homeboy. I don't know nothing you do but box. I have no opinion of you. I don't care if your fight was the most watched or not the most watched. My nigga, I do not know you from nowhere. So that's all the back and forth, but I was just having fun with it over the weekend. And she was putting up shit, I was putting up shit. But everything she was putting up, she don't know what the fuck she talking about.
Fell off the planet. People assumed the usual relationship fizzled, careers got busy, personal stuff, it happens. Nobody imagined in their wildest dreams that the truth behind the breakup would one day be thrown live on camera by Camron of all people, and trust me, Tony is no saint in this story. His circle always whispered about arguments, manipulation, money issues, deleted messages, and backdoor deals. But nobody had anything concrete. It was all rumors floating in the digital wind. That is, until tonight, when one video one alleged recording turned speculation into a firestorm, and let's be real, the minute that preview image appeared, the internet changed. You could almost hear the collective "oh my god" ripple across timelines. Because it wasn't just the act itself. It was the timing, the symbolism, the fact that Claressa spent years crafting the image of a disciplined, unbreakable champion, only for Camron to drag out something so intimate, so career-altering, that even her strongest supporters didn't know how to defend her in real time. What made it even crazier was the way Camron delivered it. No anger, no guilt. No hesitation, just that classic Camron mix of sarcasm, confidence, and brutal honesty. Like he wasn't dropping a bomb. He was casually placing a ticking grenade on the table and watching everyone panic. People swear they heard someone in the studio whisper, "Are we really doing this?" before Cam hit the screen share button. One producer allegedly dropped their headphones. Another person tried to mute the live, but it was too late. Even that half-second glitch before the image stabilized was enough for thousands of viewers to take screenshots, re-upload, dissect, and spread it faster than wildfire. Meanwhile, insiders claim Claressa's team wasn't prepared at all. They didn't have a statement drafted. They didn't have a PR plan. They didn't have a crisis manual ready. Because nobody expected Camron, of all people, to go scorched earth on a random Wednesday night. And this is where things get even darker. Behind the scenes, there were already whispers about Claressa struggling with pressure. The documentary reruns, the shifting public image, the subtle digs from other athletes who felt she had been coasting off hype rather than humility. And then the situation with Papoose that people swear was innocent, but the internet loves to twist anything into a conspiracy. So the tension was already thick. The foundation was already unstable. All Cam did was hit the fault line with a hammer. And Tony hasn't said a word publicly. Not one syllable. But according to sources who swear they're close to him, he's been sitting on this footage for months. Recordings saved. Screenshots archived. He allegedly kept everything because he felt Claressa played him dirty after the breakup. But whether he leaked it, sold it, gave it to Camron, or whether Cam got it through someone else, that part is still a mystery. The internet has created about 10 different theories, each more ridiculous than the last, but the truth hasn't come out yet. What did come out is the absolute explosion of reactions. Some people called Camron a hero. Others called him a villain. Some said Claressa deserved better. Others said she built this karma. And then there were the bloggers hungry, vicious, ready to monetize every angle within minutes. Every outlet from gossip pages to fake experts suddenly claimed they had inside information. The whole digital world turned into a circus, and the ringmaster was wearing pink mink and laughing at the chaos he created. And this is the part that nobody is talking about. Claressa didn't just lose control of the narrative. She lost control of her entire image. For years, she presented herself as the symbol of strength, discipline, and female empowerment in a male-dominated sport. She wanted to be untouchable. Now, one alleged video put cracks in everything she built. And in the age of the internet, one crack becomes a canyon. One scandal becomes a storyline. One leak becomes a legacy dot. And the scariest, this video? Camron hinted that this wasn't the only thing he had. That there were messages, money trails, and late-night audio clips sitting in a folder. That this leak was just a warm-up. Just a preview. Just an appetizer for something much darker hiding behind the scenes. And the way he said it, the smirk, the shrug, the casual tone told viewers this war was far from over. As the live continued, comments piled up so fast the app lagged. People begged for more. Others begged him to stop. Some tried to report the page, but it didn't matter. The damage was done. The narrative was unleashed. And Claressa's entire camp scrambled behind closed doors, trying to figure out how to put out a fire that was already burning through the digital skyline. And just when viewers thought the situation couldn't get more intense, Camron leaned back in his chair, looked directly into the camera, and said something that made the temperature in the room drop instantly. And that moment hit harder than any punch Claressa ever threw. Camron didn't blink, didn't smile, didn't even shift in his seat. He just stared into the camera with that dead serious expression and said, "Y'all think this the whole story? Man, this ain't even the messed up part." And the entire studio froze. The comment section went silent for the first time in 15 minutes. It was like everyone's lungs collectively stalled, waiting for the next blow, because when somebody like Camron says something isn't even the messed up part, you know the real bomb hasn't dropped yet. Viewers leaned in. Some literally muted their rooms. Others recorded the screen with shaky hands, knowing whatever he was about to say next could shift careers, reputations, and relationships forever. And then, slowly, deliberately, he dropped a folder onto the desk. A thick one, paper sticking out, USB drives taped to the cover. A manila folder that looked like it had been passed through too many hands to be innocent. That, he said. Pointing toward the folder is the part nobody's ready for. The chat exploded again. But this time the reactions weren't jokes or memes. People typed full paragraphs like they were filing police reports. Speculations flew faster than the app could update. Some said it was financial receipts. Others said it was private messages. A few claimed it was recordings, actual recorded conversations between Claressa and her ex, her team, maybe even people she wasn't supposed to be talking to. And the scariest theory suggested it could be proof of manipulation, betrayal, or something that went way beyond a leaked video. But Kim didn't open the folder right away. No, he liked the suspense. He enjoyed the chaos. He let the rumors swirl through the digital storm while he poured himself a drink and acted like nothing catastrophic was happening. That calm silence, that unbothered energy, that's what scared people the most. Because Camron only gets that calm when he knows he's holding something undeniable. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, things were falling apart fast. Multiple insiders claimed Claressa was on the phone with her publicist, demanding to know how something like this could happen. Her lawyer allegedly tried contacting the streaming platform to shut down the live, but the request was already too late. Screen recordings had multiplied. People had reposted the image. Private Discord servers were sharing cropped screenshots faster than moderators could ban them. And then came the celebrities. That's when the scandal took on a new life of its own. A rapper who once flirted with Claressa went on live himself, pretending like he wasn't pressed, but his eyes were darting around like he was reading something off-screen. A female boxer she beefed with last year posted a prayers up message that fooled no one. A famous comedian tweeted, "Detroit ain't gonna sleep tonight," which immediately went viral. Even more suspicious was Papoose trending for absolutely no reason. People dragged him in out of habit. Because, let's face it, whenever a scandal happens, the internet loves adding supporting characters who didn't sign up for the script. Papoose could have been eating cereal at home, minding his business, and still somehow got added to the storyline like a cameo nobody asked for. But this wasn't just another internet joke. This was a digital earthquake, and the aftershocks were only getting worse. Suddenly, a post surfaced from someone claiming to be Tony Rich's cousin. They wrote that the video was just the tip of the iceberg and that Camron didn't even have the dirtiest parts yet. They implied there were text messages, secret meetups, recorded arguments, and financial transfers that would flip the whole narrative upside down. Whether the account was real or fake didn't matter. The public believed it. They ate it up. And every minute added pressure to Claressa's already collapsing image. Meanwhile, journalists' real ones and fake ones jumped into the mix. A sports columnist tweeted that Claressa's upcoming endorsements were in jeopardy. A gossip blogger claimed her team was preparing a nuclear apology. A YouTuber with a history of lying said they had inside footage from backstage, which turned out to be absolutely nothing but blurred shadows. But the damage? Already done. During all of this, Camron finally leaned forward and tapped the folder hard, like he was knocking on a coffin. You know what's crazy? He said, his voice dropping low. Everybody wanna act shocked now, but half y'all knew something was off months ago. Y'all ignored the signs. That sentence alone became a meme within 10 seconds. And honestly, he wasn't lying. There had been signs. Tension in interviews, weird energy online, mysterious posts from Tony that seemed like subtweets. And then, those weeks where Claressa suddenly became defensive about her personal life, shutting down questions before reporters even finished asking them. Fans thought she was just stressed. They didn't realize the truth lurking beneath. And then Kim finally opened the folder, not fully, not dramatically, just slightly, like giving viewers a glimpse of hell without fully letting them inside. A few papers slid out. One had scribbled notes on the margins. Another looked like a printed message thread. The audience lost its mind. Everyone begged him to show everything. People offered money. Others threatened to leak their own receipts if he didn't continue. The chaos was so intense the stream lagged for a moment, buffering like the internet itself was overwhelmed. But instead of showing the documents, Kim grabbed one paper and held it toward the camera far enough to be unreadable, close enough to be unmistakably real. This, he said slowly, is what changed everything between her and Tony. Now, the speculation skyrocketed. Some believed it was proof she cheated. Others thought it was a threatening message. Some swore it was bank statements showing she paid someone off. Nobody knew, but the guesses alone were enough to push the scandal into an entirely new category. And through all of this, you could hear faint voices behind cam, like producers whispering, "Don't show that. Don't go that far." But Cam wasn't listening. He kept flipping through pages, letting the camera catch glimpses barely visible, but enough to make every viewer feel like they were inches from the truth. Then he said something that made the hair on people's arms stand up. You ever wonder why Tony and her really broke up? Y'all think it was just a normal breakup? Come on now. And that one line opened a rabbit hole so deep people started reanalyzing old photos, old tweets, old interviews, trying to uncover clues they missed. Tony's silence suddenly looked strategic. Claressa's aggressive confidence suddenly looked like overcompensation. And Camron S' smirk? Like confirmation that he knew the truth long before tonight. By now, the live had millions of views, reposts, clips, real-time commentary, people pausing dinner, workouts, jobs, everything just to watch the unfolding drama. And Cam knew he had the world's attention, which is why, after flipping through the folder for a few more seconds, he looked into the camera with that cold, knowing stare and said, "You think that video was the scandal? Nah, that was just evidence. What she did after that, that's the scandal." And right as he leaned forward, ready to drop the next revelation, the entire room shifted. You could almost hear the air pressure change, like the atmosphere itself braced for impact. Camron paused, letting the silence swallow the room, letting millions of viewers drown in anticipation. Then he said, with that slow, deliberate delivery that only someone holding the truth uses, "What she did after that is the part nobody can explain away." The reactions were instant. Comments flew like shrapnel. People demanded details. Others begged him to stop before someone's career flatlined on live camera. The tension was thick enough to choke on. And then Kim finally said it, after Tony found out what she was doing behind the scenes. She tried to flip the whole situation on him. The studio gasped. Online, people typed full essays trying to decode that sentence. Because flipping a situation? That's not normal breakup drama. That's strategy. That's manipulation. That's a scandal wrapped in another scandal and dipped in gasoline. Cam pulled out another paper from the folder and held it up a little closer this time. Still unreadable. Still blurry. But the audience recognized the formatting. It looked like a complaint report. Not a police report yet, but something internal. Something official. Something written by someone who felt cornered. Tony wasn't the villain, Kim said. He was the target. That one line sent shockwaves everywhere. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. People who were dragging Tony 20 minutes ago were now apologizing to him in the comments like he could see it. Others were asking whether Claressa had been hiding something much darker. Something beyond a leaked video or a messy breakup. And then Camron said something even more chilling. She wasn't worried about the relationship. She was worried about what he knew. Now viewers knew they weren't dealing with simple relationship drama. This was bigger, deeper, more calculated. Tony didn't walk away because he fell out of love. He walked away because he stumbled into something he was never supposed to see. At that exact moment, somebody in the studio whispered, "Cam, don't show that page." He ignored them. He pulled a second document out of the folder. This one was thicker, heavier, with handwritten notes in the margins. People screenshot the live stream instantly, zooming in on their phones. But all they could make out were circles, arrows, and a name scribbled multiple times, a name people recognized immediately. It was someone connected to Claressa's recent training camp, someone who had suddenly disappeared from her circle without explanation. The comment section exploded like a pressure cooker blowing its lid off. What did she do to him? Why was his name circled? Is this a cover-up? Can please tell us everything, bro? Don't stop now. Even the studio crew looked uncomfortable. One of them stood behind the camera with their hands on their head. Another scribbled notes like they were documenting evidence in case police showed up later. The energy was twisted, electric, dangerous, and just when people thought Cam was about to expose the entire inner workings of Claressa's personal empire, he switched gears. He leaned back. He leaned back. He exhaled deeply. And then he said something nobody was expecting. This ain't just about Tony. It's bigger than him. Instant panic. The chat froze. Comments stopped mid-sentence. Viewers leaned in like they were trying to physically climb through their screens. Because if it wasn't just Tony, then who else was entangled in this mess? Kim tapped the folder again, this time softly. Almost respectfully, "There's messages in here," he said. Messages between her and someone she should have never been talking to. The world speculated instantly. Rappers, fighters, producers, managers, champions, rivals, an ex, a current, someone married, someone famous, someone powerful. The possibilities were endless, and Cam knew exactly what he was doing. His silence was gasoline. The audience was the match. Then he said it. This person tried to warn Tony. They told him he needed to get out before things got ugly. The entire internet lost its mind. Who would warn him? Who was close enough to have seen the danger? Kim lifted his glass and took a slow sip, letting the suspense stretch until it almost snapped. And then he dropped the line that turned the scandal into a full-blown cultural event. She was planning something. Planning to ruin him before he could ruin her. That sentence alone went viral in seconds. People clipped it, posted it on TikTok, added dramatic sound effects, uploaded it with captions like, "This is insane," because suddenly this wasn't just a breakup. This wasn't even a leaked video scandal anymore. This was strategic destruction. This was a chess match where someone decided to eliminate a piece before it even moved. And then Cam reached for the last page in the folder. This page was different, thicker, glossier. Printed in color. People pressed their phones to their faces trying to get even a glimpse. The studio crew shifted uncomfortably. Someone off camera said, "Man, don't show that. That's liable." Kim didn't show it. But he held it up long enough to confirm one thing. It was a photograph. A real one. Taken somewhere that looked like a private meeting or event. Claressa was in the photo. Tony was not. The man next to her was blurred by the glare, but his silhouette alone sent the internet spiraling because that silhouette looked familiar. Too familiar. That's when Kim delivered the knockout line. "This whole time y'all been focused on Tony. Y'all ain't even asked who was in the room with her when this all started." Viewers screamed. Comments poured in. People begged for a reveal. Others begged him to stop before someone's legal team kicked down the studio door. Even celebrities jumped back into the chat, dropping vague comments like, "Nah, this wild," and "She gotta explain this." And then Kim said the most cryptic thing of the night. You want to know how deep it goes? Ask yourself why she was really so pressed to keep Tony quiet. At that moment, it clicked for millions of viewers that tonight's scandal wasn't about the video at all. The video was just the spark. The real explosion was everything Claressa was allegedly doing behind the scenes to maintain her public image, silence people, and control the narrative. Kim dropped the photograph back into the folder and closed it slowly like he was closing a casket. "This ain't even all of it," he said. "But trust me, this is enough." He leaned forward, stared into the camera, and said the final line that sealed the scandal into internet history. "Whatever you think you know about Claressa Shields, multiply it by 10 and you still ain't ready for what's coming next." He stood up. The camera shook. The stream glitched. The crew scrambled. And the live ended just like that. Abrupt, suspicious, terrifying, leaving the entire world with one question. What else is in that folder? And now that the live has ended, the folder is closed, and the internet is still gasping for air. The only thing left is the silence Claressa Shields can't control. Because after everything Camron exposed tonight, the video, the documents, the warnings, the mystery man in that blurred photo, one thing is crystal clear. This story isn't wrapping up anytime soon. It's only getting louder, darker, and messier from here. And you already know, the moment another leak drops, another insider speaks, or another blurred face gets unblurred, we're going to be right here breaking it down piece by piece. But tell me this, what do you think is actually inside that folder? Do you buy Claressa's innocence? Or do you think the empire she built is finally cracking under its own secrets? Do you believe Tony was the target? And most importantly, who do you think that mystery man in the photo really is? Drop your theories, your predictions, your wild guesses in the comments right now. I want to see every angle, every conspiracy, every thought you've got. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications because trust me, this story is far from over. And the next bomb might drop any second.